Okay, so today we're gonna do a deep dive into something called indexed universal life insurance.
Ooh,
Have you heard about this before?
I have. I have. It's definitely making waves in the financial world.
It's kind of a mouthful. IULs? What
Yeah,
is that?
it is. It's basically life insurance, but it has this cool cash value component that grows based on how well certain market indices perform.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's no direct market risk.
Okay, now wait a minute. How does that work? No direct market risk.
Right. It's a little bit tricky, but we're going to break it down today.
Yeah, we're going to try to break it down. The source that we have today is actually for financial professionals, but we're going
Yeah.
to try to make it make sense for everybody.
Exactly. We want to make this accessible for everyone.
Yeah.
So everyone listening can really understand the potential of these IOLs.
All right, so let's just start with the basics then. What's the idea behind this? What's the big picture here?
I think the big picture is that IULs offer this really unique blend of security and potential for growth. It's like getting the peace of mind of life insurance, knowing your loved ones are protected, but then at the same time you also have the possibility of your money growing as if it were invested in the market,
Okay.
but without that scary volatility.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And you know what? Our source actually has this really good example with a surgeon named James.
Right.
Makes a lot of money.
Yeah, a high earner.
$400,000 a year this guy's making.
Wow.
But the example is like, what happens if this guy all of a sudden can't work anymore?
Exactly. It's a real concern for a lot of professionals.
What happens to all that income?
Gone.
So how does this IUL thing, how does this fit into this example?
So in this case, James, he's smart. He decides to set up an IUL and he says, okay, I'm going to pay $2,000 every single month.
Each month, okay.
Each month. And the source, it projects that by the time he's 55, that cash value of his IUL could reach $500,000.
Wow, $500,000.
That's the power of compounding growth, especially when it's tied to the market's performance.
So, okay, how does that happen? How does the money grow?
That's the interesting part. With an IUL, the cash value, it's linked to specific market indices like
Right.
the S&P 500. Think of it as, a boat rising with the tide. But here's the kicker. You're not directly investing in the market.
Okay.
So you don't face that white knuckle roller coaster ride.
So wait, so the market goes up, the cash value goes up,
Yeah.
market goes down.
Yeah, the value might dip a little bit, but it never goes below zero. That's what we call that zero floor protection.
That's like the boat has a little anchor just in case the tide gets too low.
Exactly.
It's not going to sink.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, why wouldn't somebody just put their money directly in the market then? If they want to make more money potentially.
That's a great point. It's all about risk tolerance. Some people are okay with taking on more risk for potentially higher returns, but with an IUL, you're sacrificing some potential upside for that security.
I see.
You're saying, okay, I want my money to grow, but I also want that safety net, that protection of my principal.
Okay, I get that. And I think this really highlights why this could be a good strategy for people like James,
Absolutely.
high income earners,
Yeah.
professionals, because it's almost like an income replacement plan, right?
Exactly. Like in the example, imagine James is 50
Okay.
and he can no longer work. Maybe he has a health issue. Something unexpected happens.
Yeah.
Now he can tack into those living benefits.
Living benefits.
That's what we call them. Essentially, you can access part of the death benefit while you're still alive.
I see.
It's like a safety net. It can help replace your income if you can't work.
That's amazing.
And, I've seen this firsthand with people who've gone through tough times, maybe a health crisis, and they were able to access those funds, those living benefits. It was a lifesaver for them and their families.
And that's the thing. You're still protected, right? Like in the example, James is 65 now. He's retiring. He can use this IUL to create like a tax-free income stream,
Yeah.
$60,000 a year.
Tax free.
And he still got that death benefit.
That's what's amazing about IULs. It's not just one thing. It's growth potential. It's downside protection, income replacement, tax advantages. It's a
Yeah.
whole package.
So now wait a minute. This is great for James. He's a surgeon making a ton of money.
Right.
What about for the average person?
Well, the principles are the same, right? It's about protecting your income, creating a safety net.
Okay.
So even if you're not a high earner, IULs can still be a valuable tool.
Then this all sounds great. But I mean, are there ever times when this might not be the best idea?
You're right. IULs are not a magic bullet. They're not for everyone. They can have higher fees than term life insurance, for example. And there can be some limitations on how the cash value grows. It really comes down to individual needs and goals.
So it's important to like do your homework,
Absolute.
figure out if this is the right thing for you.
Talk to a financial advisor.
Yeah, exactly. Talk to someone who knows what they're talking about.
Someone who can guide you.
Yeah, and make sure it aligns with what you're trying to do.
And here's something else to think about. Our source today didn't really dive into which specific indices an IUL might be tied to,
Oh, interesting.
right? But imagine, what if your IUL was linked to an index that's specific to your field? An index that reflects the growth potential of your industry.
Like a specialized index.
Exactly. Could that be a way to really personalize your financial planning? That's something to really consider and explore.
That's fascinating. That's a really interesting concept. So maybe something to look into for folks.
Definitely food for thought.
Food for thought.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, I learned a lot today.
Me too.
Hope everybody else did too. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.
Sounds good.
All right. See ya.